Hey guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness here on terrific Tuesday here in Connecticut. Life's good, man. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. I went all in yesterday on it, the ultimate sound and everything. Okay, and I said some of the guys today were off on a different path, the path less traveled. Actually, we're the path less traveled. They are the path most traveled. And so the question is, so where do we go from here? All right? Very simple. I've talked about these two guys in the past, and I think if you follow the videos, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Anyway, let me honk a little bit. I have played today, so let's see what we got. Actually, I'm not even sure if you could tell. Hang on, I'm thirsty. Very rare this happens in this register, but I got to point it out. Some of you with the tuned in ears maybe have heard it. Right before I took that breath in a very awkward place, I lost my tongue placement. It flopped out. I had to stop. That wasn't necessary for a breath. That was to stop and reset. Did you hear it? Broke down a little bit. Anyway, yeah. So where do we go from here, guys? If Herseth's it, and he's been long gone up to that big orchestra in the sky for a long time, where do we go from here? Well, there's two guys that I think are fabulous, and at least a notch above what's going on out there. This is orchestral now, okay? Those are my roots. That's where my mind is tuned for, and that's where I feel my main expertise lies, okay? Now, as I said before, don't get me wrong, I took out 3 whipping boys, Curtis Martin, Rolfs, and Bilger. Tremendous players. Tremendous players. Onyue was another one. I don't think he's a tremendous player. I think he's below the 3 I just said. But we're not rating everybody here. Chop-wise. Okay? Now, with that said, wonderful players. They played first chair in major orchestras for a long time. And that's something to be said. Whether I have their sound happens to be my cup of tea, obviously, it's somebody else's cup of tea. So I said we talked yesterday about how subjective it is. But there are 2 guys that are just killing it, that I think are fabulous, chop-wise. The big guy, Esteban Bataillon. Herseth's successor, not immediate, but Herseth's successor. Actually, Chris Martin, if you know, was in there for a while. And when Phil Smith just up and left, you know, the dystonia of the lip, he just said, I'm done on a Monday. And left on a Tuesday. Right in the middle of the season and everything. They were a little desperate, and they had an audition or 2 or more, and they couldn't really find anybody up to Phil Smith's level. You're not going to. But they took Chris Martin. Now, Chris Martin was the first trumpet player in Chicago at the time, before Bataillon. And they literally bought out his contract and gave him an extraordinary contract. Some people, the reports are several $100,000 between the buyout and the contract they gave him, and he only came on a 1-year contract where he could opt out after a year and go back to Chicago. Now, I'm not sure if Bataillon came before that. I'm not sure if he would have been welcomed back to Chicago. Whatever. That's the the behind the scenes Esquire magazine version of what's going on in the music world. But that was quite a thing, quite a coup that the Philharmonic pulled to get Curtis Martin to go there. Anyway, where was I? Bataillon, fabulous. Fabulous. I am going to put a link down below that I want you to listen to Bataillon's tone. He's very, very informally playing Alpine Symphony up to high E's for his students. And they're goofing around a little bit. But you listen to that tone and you tell me if that's not the exact same tone that Herseth was giving us yesterday on pictures. I think Herseth might be a tad stronger. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Without sitting in the same hall and having Herseth play one thing and Bataillon play the other, I mean, you can't really tell. Recording technology and everything the way it is today. But this guy's fabulous. This guy is fabulous. There's a lot of things out there where he is doing solo work, Tomasi and all that sort of stuff. And I know he's not using a Bach mouthpiece for that. Now, very much a chameleon as far as the mouthpiece is concerned. I've heard some things that he's talked about with his mouthpieces. Well, he uses this for that and that for that, and he uses the Herseth C trumpet for this, and very chameleon-like. It seems like he's definitely not straining. So he can get away with it. Guys, tension in the corners is the root of all evil. It really is. If I wanted to go back and make a Bach mouthpiece work, I guess I could, but why would I want to? I have scars all over myself like Sandoval. It's not worth it, but that, again, we're getting off. But I think Bataillon is one for the ages. I believe he's late 30s, something like that. He looks like a kid. Everybody looks like a kid when you're my age. All right? And extraordinary. They couldn't have possibly gotten a better player to follow Herseth, albeit with a sabbatical in the middle. He's great. Absolutely great. I give him my 100% approval. I'm sure he'd be thrilled to know that I gave him my approval. Now, I still put Herseth first by a sliver. I put Phil Smith number 2 when you're talking about, I'm not going to talk about Mel because nobody's heard him, but I'm going to put Bataillon between those two, okay? I'm going to call Herseth the 1SB, I'm going to call Phil Smith the 1SS, and I'm going to call Bataillon the 1SC in the middle. I like his tone just a tad better than Phil Smith's. Phil Smith is very, very rich and a little spread for my taste, especially on a C trumpet. Extraordinary. I've talked about him before. Don't say I'm knocking Phil Smith. Okay? The last guy, a little bit different, but I love the way he plays. And that's Herb Smith. Now, he has Arbin characteristic studies all over the internet. Check him out. He has him playing the trumpet shell sound. He has a lot of things on D trumpet. He is a terrific, terrific trumpet player. And all that stuff you hear, every single one of them is on a Jerry trumpet and a Jerry mouthpiece. He now plays the 1SB. I'm not sure exactly what trumpet he plays in the orchestra. It's probably a Bach. But he does absolutely 100% play the 1SB in the orchestra. Okay? Now, on top of all these other guys, he brings something else to the table that I really admire. He is a great lead player. Double C's as big as a house. He's a first call lead player for all the shows that come into Rochester. He's with the Rochester Philharmonic. He's the assistant principal. They have a shorter season than a lot of them. They have a real short now with COVID. So he has a lot of time to teach, to play lead. Tom Jones, Neil Sedaka, all up to double C's, those guys, A's and B's. He's got it. He's got it. He can also play jazz, small jazz groups, funky Miles stuff, Clifford Brown. He's got that all, which he does better from what I can tell than any other orchestral player. He's got the whole thing, and his chops are great. His chops are double C. Now, it may not be to a purist. Now, I've never heard him in the orchestra. I've never heard him in the orchestra. Maybe in the balcony in Symphony Hall in Rochester, I may feel differently. Doesn't, to my ear, doesn't quite have the richness that Batayan and Herseth have. If I was going to go in that order, it'd be Herseth, Batayan, Phil Smith, Herb Smith. Even though this is for an orchestral player, even though Herb probably has the best all-around chops of those four. Now, there's other players. I'm leaving people out. I get it. I get it. Guys, I'm just talking about these people that we've talked about in this video that everybody knows the name. As I said, I could throw Mel in there, but unless you've been to the Met, you haven't heard him. Okay? What about Harry Glantz? I'll do a video on him some down the road. Nobody's heard him. But anyway, that's it. So, between Herb and Batayan, there's hope. There's hope for great trumpet playing going forward. There absolutely is in the orchestral field. Anyway, eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Love you all.